What's going on? Phil from Phil Will Expose back in today's episode with a new Q&A with Devin Knox. So it's been a
Yeah.
while I've done a Q&A, but finally getting back into the flow of things. Everything's flowing in the right direction, so expect some new content on the way. So in today's episode, the topic is going to be the strict curl and how it's one of the best lifts for drug-free lifters. This is actually a lift that Devin Knox specializes in. He's done many competitions in the strict curl. He's obviously a coach. He does some powerlifting, extremely strong guy, and I'm just really glad to have him on this channel in today's episode. So, welcome aboard.
Hey man, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So, why don't you tell the audience a bit about yourself? Tell us about a little bit of your background,
Well,
numbers, weight.
um, so I've been a personal trainer probably for 10 years. Certified strength and conditioning specialist, a certified trainer. Been powerlifting for 6 years. Was doing the basic, squat, bench, deadlift, powerlifting, full meet stuff until probably 2015, where I kind of hurt my knee. Wasn't able to squat. I was pretty down in the dumps, and then I found strict curl, right? So didn't have to squat for strict curl, so I could do it. It kind of upped my spirits. And the first time I ever strict curled, I curled 155 pounds, which is that's kind of a big strict curl. I
Mhm.
used to train arms a little bit, but not, for any type of strength numbers. Um, so after I did my first meet I did 155 pounds, and then fast forward, um, say 3 years, I put on 30 pounds on my strict curl, and I hit my heaviest strict curl this last summer of 185.9, and that was the heaviest curl in the history of Maryland.
Right.
And I don't really see myself as a strict curl specialist. I like to see myself more of a well-rounded. Because this past Worlds, I competed in the strict curl for 100% raw. Competed in the strict curl. I won the strict curl. It was my third 242 weight class win in a row, third worlds in a row, and it was my second best overall heavyweight worlds win in a row. And I also competed in the full meet. I think it was like 2 or 3 days later. In a low class, I cut like 10 pounds, got in a lower weight class, and ended up tying for second place in the 220 weight class. So I pride myself being in like overall, type lifter, not really a specialist, but you
Yeah.
know,
Do you want to become a specialist or?
no, I don't know. I want to be, strong all around. You
Right,
know
of
what I
course,
mean?
of
And that's
course.
kind of like my squat, bench, and deadlift numbers. I mean, I totaled 1603 at that meet. I mean, that's not bad. I weighed in at 218 at that meet. Um,
Right,
and none of my squat, my bench, and my deadlift, they're all pretty much nothing stands out. A lot of people
right.
have one that's huge and one that sucks. I mean, I just recently squatted 600 pounds raw, bench 420, and I can pull about 644.
Of course, yeah.
So they're all pretty much,
Crazy.
they're pretty good. Nothing stands out.
Yeah. So just to the
So
audience watching, Devin's not just some guy who just does strict curls all day. He obviously he has an extremely, I wouldn't even say like a built up base is like an understatement. He's elite level, drug free and big inspiration. Very underrated in my humble opinion. But he doesn't just do the strict curl, but he does the strict curl to complement your training, right? So
yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it definitely helps with your bench press. It's going to build tremendous forearm strength. It's going to help you, bring that bench down and be able to control that bench.
hmm
It's gonna help with your deadlift too. Because I mean, my strict I do one intense curl day a week, right? And it's
right.
about 2 hours of curling. So it's going to build up your forearm strength big time. I've never dropped a deadlift. I don't know, because of that, or if I don't deadlift heavy enough. But
Right, right.
uh, it'll help everything.
Yeah. So to the audience watching, this episode is how to get strong with the strict curl. Now, before anybody hops in the comment section that says, Phil, why don't you guys just talk about squats, bench, and deadlift? you guys could check my other Q&As. I've done tons of Q&As with other powerlifters, strongman competitors, whatever, on those lifts. But I think it's really cool that we could have one conversation strictly based on getting a strong strict curl. And I've done the strict curl in the past. You guys have seen some arm footage of me. I was preaching that lift a lot, and I actually forgot about it for some kind of reason. But it's actually a lift that I've always respected a lot because a lot of lifters, especially a lot of bodybuilders, they just throw in curls just for fluff and pump. And if you're drug free, you have to get bigger. You have to get stronger to get bigger. But you know what I mean? It's like if someone told you, yeah, for your shoulders, just do a couple of lateral raises at the end of your workout. Like they're not gonna grow. You gotta get strong with the overhead movements. The same thing with the curl. You have to get strong with these curling movements and done with a strict manner for the most part in order to get some bigger arms. And like a lot of people like to say that, gymnasts are known for having these big biceps, and I do agree that certain gymnasts do have good arms. But if you look at strict curlers who are strict curling over 135, they tend to have really big biceps. So that's why I'm happy to have Devin here today. He's really going to show us some interesting stuff. I'm going to ask him a lot of questions about it. We're going to dissect it. So first things first, the people who don't know what the strict curl is, why don't you tell us the rules? Competition rules.
Yeah. So competition rules. So for 100% raw, competition rules for the strict curl. Your heels can be no further than 12 inches away from the wall. Your butt has to be on the wall, and your upper back has to be on the wall. You can have an arch in your back. That's fine. But basically, your shoulder blades have to be on the wall. Your head does not have to be on the wall. But in ISCA, the CT Fletcher meet, or CT Fletcher Federation, your head has to be on the wall. But all the other rules are the same. And you have to start with your arms extended fully. And then both federations, you have a curl command. And then once you get it up, all the way up here, upper chest or chin, you get the down command. Then once you get it down, when you bring it down, you have to stay against the wall. So you can't come off the wall to bring it down. That's a very big, important thing. Some people I see peel off the wall. In training, I peel off the wall just to kind of take it easy on my arms a little bit. Because if I'm getting through like an hour of strict curls, I got to try to save something. But in competition,
sorry about that. Yeah, what about the knees? Knees, do they stay locked?
Your knees have to be locked. When we were out there in California for the CT Fletcher meet, a lot of guys started with bent knees, and they used that. They kind of would curl and continue to bend their knees and get under it. They weren't really strict on the rules out there, so they let people get away with that. And 100% raw, they won't let you get away with it. You got to have your legs locked out.
Interesting. But like as far as the height's concerned, it's like clavicle to nose area, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to establish where you're curling, and make it consistent throughout your 3 attempts.
Right.
Some people everybody curls in a different way, and people have different forearm lengths, and upper arm length. So if you have a short forearm and you're not bringing it up here, like I curl up here, and you're just curling here, that's as far as you're going. So it's different. It's different for everyone, but you establish that on your first curl.
Interesting. So that's the rules. Do you know much about the history of the lift? Like when it started getting popular?
I mean, man, there's not much out there. There's you look it up. When I was first getting into it, you look it up and you see like just CT Fletcher's curl, whatever, and then there's kind of a local guy around here, Tim Henriquez, and he put out a strict curl training article. It's probably the only one I've seen online. He put that out on T Nation, I think.
Right.
And so when I first got started, I followed that. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing. That's why we wanted to start the Curling Avengers page to make people more aware and help people out on strict curl, because there's really nothing out there. Yeah.
But you said your strongest strict curl was 180.
185.9.
185.9. And so how many years exactly you've been training for it?
I guess I'm into like my 4th year of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that 185.9 was an interesting meet. I mean, I went there to do that. I wanted to break that record, right? So I kind of did something a little different in terms of number selection. So I went heavy fast. So I went from like 180 was my first attempt, right? And then I went right for the record, 185.9 on second attempt,
Right.
and I missed it on the second attempt, right? So usually, I mean, I'm probably not going to get it on my third attempt. Thinking to myself, I'm not going to get it, but I was able to pull it up, and get under it on the third attempt, and it ended up being like it was like a 10-second grind curl. It was probably the longest curl I've ever had in my life, you know.
Wow.
But it was good.
So it's been said like online by a couple coaches, like until you could hit like a 2 plate bench, 3 plate squat, 4 plate deadlift, like you're considered novice. And once you pass that, you're in the intermediate stages. Like people set certain standards on like the big lifts. What do you say like the standards are for like a strict curl? Would you say like under 100 pounds novice, under 150 intermediate, and then like close to 200 is advanced?
From my experience from training people doing strict curls, I think the average adult male can get to 100 pounds with a few months of training. And I mean, I think 100 pounds is great for anybody to be able to strict curl that. That's some
Hmm.
pretty good bicep strength. Um, and then really the technique really comes in, right? People think the curl is just a curl, but there's a lot of other things involved. I just recently put up a YouTube video
Yeah.
of the technique of strict curls. It's not just you're curling in front of you. You gotta do some things to get the weight up, just like any other power lift, right? You're
Of
trying
course.
to push the rules. You're not breaking the rules, but you're still within the rules, like a huge arch and bench, like a sumo deadlift, stuff like that, right? So you want to lift as much weight as possible.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah,
I have a couple questions on it after though, like about the technique,
yeah.
but as far as your programming right now, or like let's say in the last 4 years, how is your like what's your programming been like for the strict curl? Like, do you have your own day for it? Do you do it at the end of sessions? How long is it? What's the volume like?
Yeah, so I did that Tim Henriquez one for a little while, and then I decided to just create my own. Um, and getting into strict curls and building up your tolerance for that kind of weight, you got to kind of take it slow because you can get tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, tendonitis everywhere. You can get a lot of people get like forearm splints, kind of feels like shin splints right here, really
Hmm.
bad. So you gotta kind of ease into it and put some volume into those arms and get everything used to curling. And for me, like I only can really do one heavy curl day a week. I do it on Fridays, um, and it's probably like it's hour and a half, 2 hours of curls,
Wow.
and yeah, I mean it's a long time. And you treat it just like any other big lift, right? So you want to take like a pretty substantial break in between, right? You're
Right.
not training your biceps for a pump.
Of
You're
course.
trying you're training it yeah, you're training it for performance. So you need that long break. So that's going to extend your lift. So it's just like if you're doing a huge squat day, you're going to take like 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes in between if you're doing like 90% of your max. So you got to take a long time, take your time. Um, and as far as what I'm doing right now, I'm actually doing I have two programs I developed. I developed SIBO and SIBO 2.0. SIBO stands for Curl Your Balls Off. Um, and so SIBO 2.0, I developed it. We have a super curl total coming up May 18th. And it's through USA Power Curl. So I recently just got into power curling. And I helped them, we got together and we decided to do a super curl total. So it's strict curl first and then power curl for total.
Nice.
So this SIBO 2.0, when I'm doing it, it's involves strict curl and the power curl, within the same program on these Fridays that I do. And then I will do like maybe Monday or another day, Tuesday. I put in more curls, but it's more just to get some blood flow going in there. I don't usually strict curl any other day or power curl. I do like spider curls, maybe dumbbell curls, like stuff like that, light stuff, band curls, just to get some blood flow pumping and just recovery.
So
Because it's
you
pretty,
really
it's
compress into that one day, basically the.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've tried it. I've tried like my teammate Coop. He does. I don't know how he does it. He does like 1 to 3 days of strict curls, right, per week. Pretty heavy, and I just like I tried it. I can't do it. My arms are done. I just can't do it. Like one day is good for me. And like I said, do kind of like bodybuilding style on Monday or Tuesday or something like that.
Right. But that's the beauty of just talking to different coaches. There's so many different ways to skin a cat, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely,
I'm sure there's
definitely.
competitors who do I would have thought that you did something like I thought you would just do all your big lifts and then at the end of like your heavy day you would just throw in like some heavy strict curls and then on your volume day at the end of you would throw in like some volume strict curls. Like I thought you kind of did it like that. But
No, so that I mean that's the thing. Like if you're going to take it seriously and you want to get good at it, I mean I think you got to devote a day to it.
and you
You
do it
know?
first, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
It makes perfect specificity, it makes sense.
yep.
So what's your what about the rules for the power curl? Because that's an event too.
Yeah, so power curl. I've done two of these power curl meets through USA Power Curl, and it's a little different. So it's a different bar. So for 100% raw for strict curl, they generally use the OBZ 55 easy curl bar. It's a little longer than like a standard curl bar. Pretty good knurling on it. It's a great bar. I love the bar. Um, but for the USA Power Curl, the power curl portion, they use the York. I forget what it's called. It's got a hammer grip on it. Maybe it's like Super Curl Bar or something like that. Little thinner, a little shorter. It's kind of flimsy, but it's a different curl, right? So out
Yeah.
here, you can curl. I can curl out here or inside on both. But on the inside grip of the York Curl Bar, it's a hammer. Okay, so it's
Almost like
like
hammer curl.
yeah, yeah. So you can kind of keep it closer to your body. And the rules for that. Uh, Pick up the weight. You create your footprint, right? Once you pick up the weight and they tell you curl, you can't move your feet at all. Okay. You have to start with your hips locked out, standing up straight, knees locked out. Once you initiate the curl, you can lean back. You can't initiate the curl with the lean forward and then lean back. So everything has to be straight up and back. So once you start curling, you can lean back, but if you lean back, you can't come back to the bar.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
So I mean that's huge, right? Because the lean back, it's good and it's bad, right? It's good
Hmm.
because it can kind of give you leverage to reel that thing in, but it's bad because it creates more range of motion. So you got to travel further. So not being able to come back to the bar, that's a big rule.
Wow. So what do you think's the like for your training personally and also like other strict curlers that you've seen, what seems to be like the weight gap between the strict curl and the power curl that on
Um,
average?
let's see. So 185.9 is my high on strict curl, and then I did 220 on my power curl.
Wow.
So yeah, so I mean, what's that? 35 pounds.
Yeah, good, more or
Uh,
less.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, just like power curl, it's way different, And honestly, like power curl for a while there was just smashing my elbow for some reason, and strict curls I wasn't even feeling on strict curls. So I mean, it's way different. It's kind of a different mindset, because you're dealing with weights you've never really dealt with before on strict curl, um, and it's just a different thing.
Would you say it's kind of like the power curl is like the push press to the strict curl? Because you could use a bit of like body English.
Oh yeah, 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 and like it's a lot of what I tell people about these curl things too. It's like you have to try to make them a full body
Right.
movement. You know, I mean, that's what it is. Powerlifting, all powerlifting. You make it a full body thing. Bench press, you use leg drive, right? So power curl, I'm standing up, everything's tight. Big breath, butt's tight, quads tight, and I'm firing that thing up, pulling it up with my traps, with my biceps, leaning back, and then rolling it in. So it's full body movement. I mean, strict curl is full body movement as well.
Okay. So in competition, you obviously have to pause, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. So same thing. You get the curl command, curl it up, hold it up there, and then you get the down command. And on the way down a power curl, your form doesn't matter. So you can basically you can unlock your knees, but you still have to stand up. You can unlock your knees and lean forward and kind of like brace the weight. You
Right.
know, you don't have to standing straight up, strict like the strict curl. And then you get the rack command and you rack it.
Wow. So how much pause work do you like incorporate? Because I've seen your some of your logs, your training logs, and you do like a lot of like some touch and go. Like what do you say like is your pause work compared to your touch and go?
I mean, what do you mean, pausing at the top or the bottom or?
Both. Some people do it really strict where they take out all momentum at the bottom and like they pause at the top. Like
So, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of worrying about just getting the weight up. You
getting
know,
it up.
my
Okay.
initial, yeah, my initial pull on there. Like when I'm dealing with heavyweights, the only time I'm gonna stop at the bottom, um, is if I need to breathe.
Right.
So I can usually get like maybe two curls on one breath, and then I have to breathe, and then I'm hanging at the bottom for a second, and then
Nice.
firing back. But I do kind of like dead stop stuff, dead stop midpoint rack strict curls. So it's kind of like a seated curl, you know, where you take the bar off your legs, except you're standing in the strict curl position in a rack with the bar about halfway up, you know. So it's kind of like dead stop bench or something like that. Curl up, bring it back down. So that's where I get a lot of the pause stuff from on that.
So I'm assuming you do that for to target like certain weak points and
Yeah, so there's different sections in the curl. So the first part is just pure power. You know, you're trying to get speed, trying to generate as much speed as possible, pulling it up hard. And then the second part is getting under it, right? So once you pull it up, you got to pop under. So that's where the dead stop midpoint rack strict curls come in. So that's my strength, right? I'm catching it and I'm reeling it in with my biceps. So that's what you try to work on that dead stop midpoint rack strict curl.
so with all these years of doing the strict curl, do you feel like it carries over at all to your pull-ups or rows? Like do you feel stronger when you do them or not really?
Pull ups. I'm not a real big pull up guy.
Yeah.
But definitely, I mean, definitely. Actually, well, like I did do. I guess probably a year ago, me and my buddy had a little like pull up competition. And he weighed about like a buck 60, right? And I weighed like 230, 235. I will say I did pull off about 26 pull ups,
Wow.
right? So right, overhand pull ups, right? So it did. I don't know. Maybe it helps that, you know. Definitely, yeah, definitely rowing strength helps that. Definitely.
Yeah, cut off for a second. But so what's your thoughts on like thick handle work? Do you incorporate any?
Um,
Like fat grips, globe grips, like just like different kind of
yeah, I use I incorporated some fat grips into the Cybo 2.0. I've been doing some Scott curls, like one arm Scott curls with fat grips. I mean, I'll do some fat grip bench.
right.
Uh, I mean, that's about it. I mean, nothing too crazy. I'll use different. I mean, like the OBZ 55 bar. I mean, it's pretty thick bar.
Hmm.
If you're used to just a commercial gym curl bar and you go use that OBZ 55, you're gonna kind of be in for a shock. I mean, it's a whole different curl bar. So, I mean, if you're serious into strict curls, I definitely suggest you get your hands on one of those bars or something similar to it, because there's a huge difference
Right.
in that.
So what's the? By the way, I hope the audience is enjoying this, man, because I'm getting a lot out of it. So
Yeah.
I'm really interested in like just different kinds of strength, and just I find it super cool how someone just you don't hear about this kind of stuff. It's very like rare information I find. But what's
Definitely. I mean, it's like I said, like when I put out that technique video, like I mean, I haven't really seen anything like it, and I mean, I get messages all the time from people asking me, like, you know, how do I get into strict curl, whatever. And I mean, I send them my SIBO program because I think free information is great. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You can have all this information. You have SIBO 2.0. You know, I'll take a look at your videos. You know, um, just because I kind of want to I want strict curl to kind of take off again and become more popular, which I think it's doing.
Well, hopefully this video gets some, some views, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But like the thing, like, what is there not to like about the lift? You know, I don't see how some people might say it's a goofy lift or whatever, but it's a standing exercise, which all standing lifts are badass. You know, if you got like a really good full range of motion going on, you know, you're moving that weight easily like a foot, um, and you
Yeah,
can
I don't
handle some
know.
good weights too. You know.
I don't know why people think it's stupid. Um, you know, when people tell me it's stupid, I'm like, how about you get on that wall? You know, grab 180 pounds, whatever, and lean against that wall and see if you can curl it. You know what I mean? See what happens. I think a lot of people are kind of scared putting a 1 rep max in a single joint movement. You know, they think that their biceps are just going to shoot off. But like I said before, like you can't just jump into it. You know what I mean? You got to put that volume into your arms.
Right.
But I think like that, I think people they see a single joint movement and they're like, you know, you shouldn't max out on that, right? And you hear that all the time. You shouldn't do like, you know, 1 rep maxes for curls. You know, but it's crap. You know, if you can condition yourself enough, you know, then
Right.
you can do it.
Yeah. But I think in the grand scheme of things, what's most importantly is that you like it. You know. Even if
Oh
let's say the whole entire world says like,
yeah,
look, what are you doing? You know, like this is a stupid lift.
right.
Like if you're really enjoying your training, you're getting a lot out of it. Like you're doing it for yourself at the end of the day, anyways. You know.
Well, yeah, that's my thing. My thing now is all that fun, right? So like I used to compete in the USAPL until that started to suck big time. That's not fun anymore. So I stopped doing that. I got into 100% raw. That's more fun. And then you know, USA Power Curl. This federation's a lot of fun because it's all about the guys lifting. You know what I mean? It's not about the federation making tons of money. You know, it's all about trying to just have fun, build a curling community, I guess. You
Right.
know, and I mean
Yeah.
nobody's getting world famous and you know making tons of money powerlifting, you know, or curling or whatever. So you just might as well just have fun.
Not for sure. Like I hope the lift gets popular again. But so let's talk about bar path, right? Because obviously when it comes to the power lifts, and speaking of the power lifts, wasn't the strict curl in powerlifting? Wasn't it called the Big
I mean,
Four?
yeah. As far as I know, it used to be. You know, it used to be and then fell off, and then it's back in. It's in on in 100% raw. You know, you can do full meet plus strict curl. You know, and they'll either do strict curl right in the beginning or they'll do it at the end. Um, You know, people say it sucks when you're finished deadlifts and then you got to go up and strict curl, but you know, either way for me, I don't really care if it's in the beginning or end.
So what's the optimal bar path? Like I know it might differ from people, but for you personally,
So you want to keep the bar as close to you as possible, right? You don't want to have your a regular like looping curl, okay? Um, so basically, the bar path you want it to be just straight up and in, okay? Because if you just do a regular looping curl, your lever arm is going to be far out in front of you, right? So that weight's going to be all out here, and it's just going to pull you down, right? It's just going to be that much harder for you. So what you want to do, you want to try to pull it up and keep that bar close to you. You want it to be like a few inches in front of you as best you can. So you're pulling that bar up and you're getting under it and then reeling it in. So it's kind of like sort of like a clean, you know, it's an
right?
underhand clean in
Reverse
a
grip
way.
clean.
Exactly. Yeah. So if that bar gets in front of you, you're kind of screwed, right? So you want to keep that bar deep into your hand and your wrist curled towards you. You pull it up and get under it, and it's in.
Yeah. Well, to the audience, Devin posted a great video talking about the technique. So we're gonna post a link to his channel below. But he's basically saying that when the weights are getting a lot heavier, there's like a shrugging component to it, right?
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
So when do you think people should start incorporating this? Is it when progress really just stalls, or you just try to like milk your like strict curl and
Well, I mean, it depends on the person, right?
Hmm.
Um, Definitely. I mean, I teach people to just get on the wall and just curl, right? I mean, that's one of the things I like. One of the things I like about strict curl is anybody can do it. Anybody, I mean, um, people people like for me, like I hurt my knee, so I mean that's why I went to it. A lot of people who can't do squats or deadlifts or stuff like that because of knee or hip problems, they can just jump on the wall and just curl, and you don't necessarily need technique like me. I mean, anybody can just jump on the wall and curl
Hmm.
and get involved in powerlifting if they want to get involved in powerlifting. You know what I mean? And it's fun and it's great. Like, a lot of these 100% raw meets, a lot of little kids do it. You know, um, but if you want to progress in it,
Right.
then that's the technique really comes in. If you want to curl, 135 pounds, 150 pounds, 180 pounds, you really have to focus on the technique. You know,
So let's say somebody does like how much? Let's say somebody's been doing strict curls with you know, their traps really down, depressed the whole time. How much weight do you think they could add off just like that simple technique tweak where they shrug it up for the first half?
I don't know. I couldn't give you a number, but I
Like
could
a good
tell
20
you,
pounds?
20 pounds of a strict curl is a hell of a lot of weight. Like maybe 5, 10 pounds.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be happy with a +5 on my strict curl any day.
Yeah.
Hell, +1. You know,
Yeah.
um, but getting that technique down, man. Like I still struggle with it. Like I have one arm that's faster than the other, and it just this past week I've had a couple people. They actually it just clicked. It clicked for them the technique. Getting it up and under, right? For
Right.
like for weeks prior to this, they break it up. They break it up into different parts. Um, but it's something just like anything else. It's just it's not an instant thing, and you got to practice it a whole hell of a lot.
So let's talk about like lifting gear. So I see you got like the mouth guard, belt. Um, y- like explain the mouth guard because I've seen some powerlifters
Yeah.
use it too for like
So
yeah, like you see like Brian Shaw. I think he deadlifts with it. Yeah.
yeah, so I started using a mouth guard. I don't know, probably like 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, just because I would always on lifting weights, I would always bite my bottom lip, right?
Hmm.
So then like it occurred to me, I don't want to bite my bottom lip off. So I just put a mouth guard in there ever since. And I actually had a buddy of mine, he actually broke a tooth lifting without a mouth guard. So I mean, I think lifting with a mouth guard is great. As far as other equipment, I just recently started with a belt again with squats. Like I was beltless for a long time just because I had a hamstring thing that it kind of amplified it. I'm still beltless on deadlifts. I don't use uh, a belt or wrist wraps for curls, which you can. You can use a belt and wrist wraps for curls. Um, I just feel like the wrist wraps it restricts my mobility of my wrist. I mean, which it's supposed to do. So I can't. If I put them on, I'm not gonna be able to curl my wrist towards me, right? Um, so I don't like that, and I don't know. It's kind of um, it's just uncomfortable for me. In a belt, like I said, I only use belts really for squats. So a belt never really occurred to me on curls, but I do have my buddies. They use a belt on strict curls and on power curls. I
Hmm.
can definitely see it more on power curls because of that lean back.
Right.
Um, but if you're leaning back on the power curl and you're squeezing your ass as hard as you can, your ass is going to take most of that than your lower back. So, um, yeah, that's it for me.
What about rewind to what you just said with the wrist curl? So when you do your strict curl, are you wrist curling it at the top, like when it gets heavy, or
So so when you dig that bar in your hand, you want to get the bar deep, and you're already going to have your wrist coming towards you when you pick it up. Okay,
Mhm.
and it's going to be in this position the whole time. If you're in this position and the bar slips down here, you're screwed, right? Because that lever arm is like 2 inches, 3 inches longer.
Right?
Okay, so if you go like this and then pull it this way, that lever arm's way shorter. It might not seem like a lot,
It's a
but if you
lot,
start
yeah.
doing it like this, you'll feel it big time. So once you get, they're going to be curled towards you, but once you get to the turn, that's when you really drive them towards you and pull it in. So you'll feel it. You'll feel it shoot right into you.
Right. That should develop your forearms a bit too, you know?
What's that?
That should develop the forearms too.
Oh yeah, big time, big time. I mean,
Nice.
you need the forearm strength to be able to curl those wrists like that.
So do you ever do variations of the strict curl with a reverse grip? Or not even really?
I'll do some light reverse grip. That's in my SIBO program, my first program. At the end, just to work the other side, the forearm, just some light reverse grip. I don't know. I've always found it kind of uncomfortable, and kind of like a little funky on my elbow. So I just keep it real light, just get some blood in there.
So what's the biggest tip you could give people like trying to get a bigger strict curl regarding elbow health?
Elbow health. So for me, before I strict curl, I always floss my elbows. All right, so wrap my elbows with the whatever the rubber band things, wrap them up tight, move them around, get some compression on there, unwrap them, and then I'll use a lacrosse ball or a barbell, and I'll just hit them, roll them a little bit, maybe hit my triceps a little bit. But other than that, I've never really had much trouble with my elbows, except for with when I put started doing the power curl. I felt like there was a piece of glass on my elbow. But I worked that out. I think it's getting used to the different, the amount of load you're putting in them. You know what I mean? And the volume you're putting into your arms, because if you're not used to those heavy weights, then you will have some problems. So I mean, you definitely have to think about that. So you can't jump into it too fast.
Right. So what is the tricep training like? What does the tricep training look like for someone who's trying to? I know you obviously train your triceps like regarding like the bench and stuff, but let's say you got like a strict curl specialist. What does his triceps training look like?
So a strict curl specialist. So I would say my teammate Coop is a strict curl specialist. He doesn't squat. He doesn't really deadlift. He's been getting into deadlifts. And not squatting, not really doing leg stuff. It helps you big time on strict curl because you keep your body weight down. You know what I mean? Excuse me. So he benches. So I think a lot of his tricep stuff revolves around bench. You have your heavy bench day, heavy close grip days. A lot of push down stuff like that. For me, since bench, is one of my things I focus on. Like I bench 3 days a week. I have one heavy bench day. I do for my heavy triceps. I do like jam presses, stuff like that. I do tons of push downs.
Mm-hmm.
I might even pop in a fourth day of triceps, maybe just a pump day for my triceps, get some blood flow in there. Yeah, but other than that, I'm trying to think what my other teammate Max. He's not really he's great at curls, but he does his deadlift's pretty good. His bench is pretty good. So he does just your regular bench stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yeah, we're approaching in on the end of the Q&A, but so explain to the viewers curling Avengers. Like, how did the group come about?
It's kind of funny. We came about. I would say it was my first Worlds. I guess it was like 2016 up in Erie, Pennsylvania. That's when I first met Max and Coop, and apparently we all won our weight classes. Apparently, like Max and Coop, they were talking for a little bit before that, and then they brought me in. Because like you recognize other people that are good at the sport, or at lifting. And ever since then, man, we text. Like every day. We talk about our training. We share training secrets, and then we teamed up for Worlds a few times. because they do like a team portion. You get points for winning a weight class, things like that. And we've competed in Erie, Pennsylvania a couple times together. We flew out to California, did the CT Fletcher meet, which that was a lot of fun because here's three drug-free guys flying out and competing in a non-drug tested meet. Didn't know what to expect, and we completely kicked ass. All three of us, we won our weight classes. Coop, actually, he won the best overall curler. They did it by percentage body weight. And we just completely just crushed it out there. We've competed in Virginia Beach together at Worlds.
Wow.
And it's funny too because we all live in different states. I live in Maryland. Coop lives in North Carolina, and Max lives in Ohio. And they've probably become two of my best friends. Just through curling, which that's one of the things that I love about it. It just kind of brings people together with common interests. So then we decided, we want to make curling more popular. Strict curls and now power curls. So we're like, well, let's just do a YouTube channel. Not really expecting much out of it, just trying to put some information out there. So we kind of call ourselves the Curling Avengers. And I put my whole SIBO, the first SIBO program's up there. I videoed every single set of SIBO every single week. I think it's like 8 weeks long. I explaining everything through it. So if you're interested in the SIBO program, it's up there on the Curling Avengers site. And and I think like next big thing for us is the May 18th meet, the Super Total meet. We're gonna be there. I think like me, Max, and Coop. We're like three of the best drug-free curlers in the world. In the United States at least. So we'll be at that Super Curl meet. If anybody's interested, you can look at USA Power Curl on Facebook. The meet's is going to be in Maryland, right outside of DC. And check it out and sign up. Come out, see us. Whatever, compete. Should be a lot of fun.
Sounds fucking fun, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Especially the CT Fletcher. I don't know if it's like next to a beach or something, but like it's just outside. It looks like everyone's just like the energy looks crazy.
Yeah, it was outside, ran on Venice Beach. The energy was crazy. The only thing that sucked about it, and that's kind of like with every meet, is it took too long, and I didn't like the way that they set up the flight. Right, so it was like one huge flight, and it was they did it next heaviest curl goes, so you could volley yourself. Right, it's not like a run through a flight, then the reorder, run through a flight. So it kind of sucked there at the end. Like me, Max, and Coop, we had to wait, in the hot sun for 3 hours for them to get through all these other guys and then finally get to us. And then Max ended up having the heaviest curl, and he had to follow himself, so that kind of sucked for him. They gave him a couple minutes after his curl, and then he had to curl again. So I think they need to fix that out there. I kind of thought about doing it again this year. It's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a week after the super curl meet, but it's kind of, for me, I live on the East Coast. It's on the West Coast. I don't think I want to go out there again.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, bro. Like, was there any like prize money, or was there any?
Nah, man. There's no,
just for fun, just for.
Yeah, drug-free powerlifting. There's no prize money.
Yeah, even at that, just doing it for the love,
Oh yeah, and it was great to hang out with those dudes, and just go out there and kind of prove something to us and drug-free lifters. Like I don't know who was out there, if they're on anything, who knows? But I beat some pretty big guys. I was kind of like lower body weight in the heavyweight division, and I won. So yeah, I was proud of that.
Do you think body weight makes a big difference in your strict curl? Like on the bench, obviously it's like ridiculous, but
it's a weird thing. So body weight, you'll see strict curls and body weight. They'll both go up at the same, right? So once you get to a certain point, at like say my weight actually, once the weight goes up, the body weight goes up, the strict curl starts to go down.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's weird. If you look at the raw records, you'll see like super heavyweights. They don't have like huge curls. You might see one every now and then, but for the most part, I think it's going to be like between the 200-pound people and like the 250 people.
Do you think it's because you're trying to keep the bar as close to you as possible? Now like the stomach, it has to kind of like.
Well, right, yeah, yeah. I was just thinking that maybe maybe the big fat stomach gets in the way. They can't pull it up. They got to get around that belly.
Yeah. It's like the opposite of like the opposite benefit of benching, like you bench
Oh
and
yeah,
you want to get that. But that pretty much wraps it up, man. Like I really appreciate
cool.
you for coming on today. Last thing just to wrap it up, like what are your goals for like what are your lifetime goals for the strict curl? What are you
Um,
expecting?
I don't know, like lifetime goals. I mean, it'd be awesome to curl 200 pounds, strict curl 200 pounds. I know like short term goals for the super total is to total 400 pounds combined with strict curl and power curl. That'd be awesome. Um, but I mean, mainly just stay injury free. Just keep lifting and have fun. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my main thing. Lifting, just have fun. Just meet people that want to have fun lifting too. And just trying to spread kind of my knowledge of curls around because like all this stuff in my technique video, basically I had to learn myself. Nobody told me about hand position or wrist or keeping the bar as close as possible or firing up from the bottom as hard as you can with a shrug. That's stuff I had to figure out on my own. So I did a lot of fucked up things.
Hmm.
Learning stuff. You know what I mean? Doing things wrong.
Yeah.
So that's I mean I think it's a valuable video for anybody who wants to learn how to strict curl.
So to anybody who's just like listening, some people listen to this like in their car while they're driving, or whatever. But we're gonna post the channel below. But why don't you just tell us anyways? What's the channel name? What's your Instagram? Where can people find you?
So the channel name is Curling Avengers on YouTube. My Instagram is Knox Power Company. And if you want to, you can message me on YouTube or write a comment, or if you want to get a hold of me directly, you can send me a message on Instagram, Knox Power Company, and ask me about whatever you want, strict curls or anything.
Solid, man. So I appreciate you for coming on today, Devin, and
Yeah, man.
stay in touch,
Yeah.
bro.
Thanks, man. Take it easy.
Thanks a lot, bro. Ciao.
Yep.